And welcome to Casual Esports Amateur League, everybody. Today we have a match between Madtown Frydown and Return of the Middlesticks. So going into game one, Reaper, would you like to take it away? Introduce us, because I forgot to do that.
Absolutely. I am Cage the Cage Reaper here with Karen Franz, bringing you our second series of the Piltover division in Season 8 of Seal. We've got Madtown Frydown with Obscure Prawn in the top lane, Reese in the jungle, Photo Smart mid, Sheep's Head at ADC, and Dat Puff support. Notably, this team does not have a permanent fifth member yet. Obscure Prawn is meant to be their jungler, and he has shifted top lane to make room for Reese to run it down in the jungle for them, after we just watched him run it down as support for the currently undefeated Imagine Ocean. On the other side of the rift, we have Return of the Middlesticks, returning after their initial debut in the post-unsealed spectator match. They have Oath in the top lane, Gid the Shade Slayer in the jungle, filling in for Tall X Guy, their sixth man, Lil Saint 273 in the mid lane, Aeropox at ADC, and Meristematic rounding out the team at support.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Return of the Middlesticks, this is their return to the Seal stage. They played in that little event that we had in the off-season. Very dominated, very commanding two-game wins for them. We saw Tall X Guy, their usual mid laner, not in this match, come out very mobile, roaming a lot, really helping to snowball his side lanes and get everybody going. Well, Oath, the top lane, dominating set game himself, very strong individual player. Gid Shade Slayer was huge as well. It was just a very well run 2-0 series. Looking at the team drafts and what we know from Return of the Middlesticks, and unfortunately, really just out of Reese from our last series, what do you think? How is this series going to shape up?
Well, I think that in the first game, you have a big, not to knock on Little Saint at all, but Tallix Guy was the go button. He was the mobility. He was the outnumbered attack. He was everything for Return of the Middlesticks in their initial show match. And while Gid the Shade Slayer played really excellently well, I feel like that's always helped out when you have a mid lane assassin with high mobility jumping over walls to aid you. So I think that we're going to see Return of the Middlesticks maybe struggling with their identity a little bit with Tall X Guy out of the lineup. I'll be interested to see how that works out. Reese returning to jungle. Reese, I think, played jungle when he first entered the Seal League, flexes back and forth between jungle and support, notably tries to play champions that are less mechanically heavy but rely more on making the intelligent plays. And I think that in this particular situation, there's just a better team comp from Madtown Frydown. I think that there's just a lot of strong team fight from their entire team. The Trundle pick I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think it's that good against the Hecarim. I know that it's okay into the Shen. Neither character are a true tank for him to really benefit from stealing the stats of, but I think that given the rest of his team's picks, the slows and the ability from the Trundle just to stand up front with the Ornn and be a distraction and beef while Leona ultis, Jhin ultis, and then Victor cleans everything up, has potential to go better for them than the counter-engage pick-oriented team of Return of the Middlesticks.
Yeah, I think ultimately I have to agree with your assessment with the two rosters. I like the Madtown Frydown. I love their name, by the way. It's just fun to say. I love that their draft. I love seeing this triple tank out of them with Jhin, the Burst Squishies, and Victor just to be consistent and strong DPS out of the mid lane. Return of the Middlesticks has a... I'm personally not against their comp either, though, by any means. You have the Shen, you have the Hecarim. That's a good dive engage, counter engage even, between the two of them. Lux is a good... Obviously, we saw her very dominating in the last series that we streamed for Piltover. Her ult just gets absolutely insane in the mid and late game. Even early on, it's just such a low cooldown, very high damage. Kai'Sa, I'm always a personal fan of Kai'Sa. I'm not going to dive too much into her as a champion. I just love her damage. And she brings a good dive partner with the Hecarim and with the Shen ult. So it gives her a little bit more survivability to do so. My real question is, where does the Akali really fit into this team comp? I'm not too sure personally, but I'm interested to see how it plays out against the Ornn top lane.
Also importantly, this Akali was the last pick. This was the counter pick. So I'm with you. I don't necessarily think that it fits into the overall team comp all that well. I think that you had some really better options that you could have made in that spot. Maybe it's that this team is more comfortable playing around an assassin in the mid lane, but I have to say I would have much rather seen some more sustained damage style of champion out of this mid lane here. But we'll see how it plays out. Let's get into the game and see what happens.
Absolutely. See you all in a short bit. And we are
And the
live
walls come down.
Immediately, we were seeing pings coming out from Madtown Fry down as they're running down mid lane here. Looks like Return of the Middlesticks doing a bit more of a standard 5-man point, so we'll see what happens here.
Really good invade comp from the side of Madtown
Saw
Fry down.
Hecarim inside their blue. He's all caught alone. They're choosing to go for him. He burns the ghost immediately, gets caught up by the Leona E. Bit of damage coming out, but ultimately I think he's able to get away there. They're not really able to really stop him thanks to that ghost.
Really unfortunate that he had to use that ghost there. Ghost has a lower cooldown than Flash, so it's not the end of the world.
Yep.
And he did get that ward down, but that ghost controls a lot of the damage that you have in the early game to make your ganks work. Hecarim's damage depends pretty heavily on that ghost on your first gank, sometimes on your second gank. It's going to be unfortunate to see if that maybe is counterproductive in him getting done what he needs to get done early.
Yeah, absolutely fair point to make. And this might be a situation where having exhaust on Leona maybe would have been able to secure that, stop him from running away quite so quickly. But, having the Ignite, I think will definitely pay off better in the long run.
Well, also, on a champion like Trundle, you never really want to start something like your E-Pillar, but if you had the E-Pillar, baby, you get that kill. If you had the Jhin root, really unfortunate that they didn't have the Jhin root there. I think Jin's one of the few champions that could have gotten away with starting something other than what they did, because that Leona E landed, and that was such a huge Zenith Blade from Datpuff that it's unfortunate they couldn't convert on it.
Yeah, if they had anything really to follow up, as you said, they really could have had a lot more kill potential on Gid Shade Slayer there. Right now, though, nothing really happening between the two teams. Just some damage being traded back and forth top lane. We have our two mega tanks up there who'll just slap each other for a little while. Everybody's content to farm it out at the moment.
Notably, the junglers are pathing in opposite directions. Risi's starting on the top side of the map, while the Hecarim Gid is starting on the bottom side, pathing towards top. One of the notable things you can do to punish a Shen pick, because it loses trading early, is path into it and try to kill it a couple of times on repeat. But instead, just the opposite happening, where Return of the Middlesticks is actually sending their jungler top, potentially looking for that early action, that early punish, to counterpick and maybe get a kill onto this Ornn early. While the Trundle, recognizing that top lane is kind of more difficult for him to gank, and Shen's not the best.
Bit of an
champion
engagement
to gank
coming down
on
bot lane right now. Sheep's Head does have to back out there. Brought pretty low. No summoners burnt except for the heal on Merstomatic, actually, interestingly enough. Meanwhile, Lil Saint taking some good damage in the mid lane, getting bullied by that Victor. 18 to 12 in CS at the moment, pretty low. More trades happening top, but yeah, nobody's really going to be able to do much as they trade back and forth. Gid coming in mid lane, put some good damage down on the Victor, but he just burns his flash and is able to get out of there. I think that's where we see, as you said, not having the ghost, wasn't a ton of that initial burst damage.
Yeah, some of the damage missing. Still gets the flash out of Photosmart. Good gank by Gid here, but unfortunately not a whole lot of action coming off of it. both junglers looking to make their impact where they can. As in the bot lane, Reese's looking.
Oh, Oath gets brought down the top lane, but yeah, switching bot lane as more happens. We have the big engage onto Merstomatic, and Knight does go down. Fourth proc out of the Jhin auto is able to take him down. Meanwhile, Gid taking that revenge kill onto Obscure Pouring up in the top lane. Don't want to know his browser history.
That's where I'm a little upset about the fact that Gid didn't look top first, right? Obscure was pushed in pretty significantly, and after burning that flash mid and seeing the Trundle in bot lane, I really wish Gid would have run straight to the top side to try to relieve that pressure on Oath before he got solo kill. As it is, he showed up a little bit later. He didn't have Ghost, but he still managed to pick up the kill. So still a good play by him there, especially to trade across the map knowing that Reese had just picked up the kill for the bot lane on the side of Madtown. But a little bit of a lost opportunity potentially to impact the map a little bit faster and potentially without losing your top laner.
Yeah. And it's worth noting, we weren't really able to talk about it much, but that first blood kill, Obscure Port taking out the Shen, Oath kind of misplayed and positioned himself improperly. He tried to dash forward to get the taunt onto the Ornn, but he missed it and put himself next to the wall, allowing Obscure Port to really just kind of get that knock up and burst him down with just his base damages that Ornn is well known for.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfortunate misstep there for sure. That first blood kill, notably being the gap in gold in the game right now. It's a little bit stable at the moment, but there's a couple of big waves frozen that are going to tip that gold back in the favor of Madtown.
Yeah, Ornn himself just picked up a good number of CS from a big wave that Shen had pushed into him. I was really happy to keep taking these trades with Obscure Poor and not afraid to go in. Meanwhile, though, he's happy to just as happy to turn them back around on him.
Yeah, at this point in time, the Shen should be a little bit more careful. The Ornn wins these earlier trades now. Shen should win a little bit later, but also Shen's power is his map-wide ability to impact things, whereas Ornn's power is his ability to turn a team fight, right? Or set a team fight. So it's going to be interesting to see how these tanks use their abilities. And right back here, after the gold equalized, the minion waves that have been getting built by the side of Return of the Middlesticks crash into Madtown, and the gold lead jumps right back to about 1,000 gold where it was.
Yep. Meanwhile, though, Hecarim looking to get this pick onto Reese. Lux Binding did not quite land. Bit more of skirmishing going on top as Trundle's able to escape pretty nicely. Leona E does not land on the Kai'Sa either, so she is able to get away. As we just kind of reset right now.
Yeah, Gid really wanted to try to contest that crab. That second crab, that one's actually worth all the cookies. After the nerfs to crab, first crab's really not worth much other than the 80 gold, 77 gold that you get off of it. But the second crab is still worth the full experience and gold bump that it has historically been worth. And so a lot of junglers, especially when you're feeling a little bit behind.
Oh, hang on a second. Big engage going on in the mid. Gid looking to pick up onto the Victor, who just smartly keeps walking away knowing that Lux is there. Oh, a little Saint flashes in, but nobody else is really there with him. Photosmart turns it around with his Victor ultimate. Kind of a bit of a misplay, miscommunication from Return of the Middlesticks with that dive.
Yeah, that dive didn't go the way anybody wanted it.
Dives, we have another going down bot lane. Leona stacking the CC onto Aeropox, does not quite connect with the Jhin W. He is taking a lot of damage with that tower. Shen ult keeps Aeropox alive. In the meantime, we're seeing Oath, that Shen doing exactly what we talked about a moment ago with his global pressure, especially right now where top laners do not have the option to TP very often.
All right, a couple of really questionable plays made on both sides here, guys. Come on. First off, you've got Return of the Middlesticks sending a great three-man gank mid. They're in position, they're in a good spot, but the Hecarim pushes away the Victor, which wouldn't be the end of the world, but the Q goes wide by the Lux. And then the Akali that's been bullied in lane just wants to taste blood, flashes forward, misses the Shuriken, then still ultis forward to get the ignite down under turret. Little bit of anger greed maybe there. Not entirely sure what was going on with the Akali there, but not what you need there. You need to dial it back once your initial engage misses. Then on the other side of the map, Leona and Jhin diving the Kai'Sa with a level 6 Shen on the field. Like, you're not level 6 yet. You can't do that. You can't dive champions with Shen on their team until you have the ability to burst them like crazy, and you're not there yet. Over-aggression and greedy plays on both sides, leading to kills on both sides of the map for the opposing team.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's really just unfortunate misplays and miscalculations. I always love to say, you know, I did the math, but my math was wrong. And I think that's exactly what we saw.
Ooh, good route from the Jhin there to keep his support alive.
Well, Orin blowing ultimate on a near full health Shen. He does have Trundle coming in a bit late now. Trundle does go down, able to steal a bit of stats away from the Shen, but Shen's able to taunt him back under tower to trade a 1-for-1 and a 2v1. Good plays on each side. Hecarim, yep, choosing not to gank bot lane.
Reese's griefing his top laner.
Yep, I mean, I think there was a little bit of, again, a miscommunication. Obscure Porn went in a bit too hard, a bit too early. While he had to buy time for his jungler to come in. Meanwhile, though, Victor flashing forward to try and pick up Little Saints, who survives with just a tiny sliver of HP. We're talking sub 10, it looked like.
All right, well, Little Saint needs a little bit of good karma after the Photosmart surviving with 10 HP the last time. So I think that's just a little bit of balance coming back in the favor there.
Big turnaround by Little Saint. Gidslayer taking the opportunity of Photosmart being a bit too forward, but after getting the assist secured, Little Saint kind of greeted, went back in, and Victor is able to just pick up the kill.
Little bit of over-aggression greed coming through from the mid lane sub again. Just not quite. Oh, this could be bad.
Could be bad. It looks like, at least for the moment, Hecarim was forced off. Sheep's had a bit of a bad situation, bit zoned out on his own. Not really sure. There's been a lot of contest for this dragon. It has not gone down yet, as both teams have tried to take it from at one point or another. But it will remain on the field for time yet.
That's a very cautious play by Reese there. I think that it's a good safe play. I think he probably could have forced that dragon, had first move from his side.
We have a big fight brewing bot lane. Hecarim's able to get Reese locked up a little bit. Leona's being called out. She is walking away for the moment. No, she does go down. Meanwhile, Reese is in a terrible location right now. He might try and see if he can just execute to the tower, but it's going to go to someone. Yep, Hecarim is who it is. Oh, Victor has come on down. He's 3v1. Everybody's more or less full HP right now. It's a bad spot to be. Trying to turn around on Aerobox. He does get the kill with the Zhonya's outplay, but he's going to go down himself. Wow.
So, I mean, you don't really ever want to walk into a 1v3 like that. That's kind of iffy. He does come away with the 150 gold bonus off of getting the shutdown for his own life. As Victor, I suppose that's worth it just because of your goal of getting to your late game dream. But I think a bit of a misstep there by Madtown. They were in position to take the dragon, and then they overstayed and got themselves out of position to take the dragon, and they got collapsed on. Now Return to the Middlesticks, notably making a similar mistake where
Shen
they're not willing
ult.
to commit to this dragon, and they're actually running away from a 2v2 against a Trundle and a Leona instead of finishing out the
Trundle
dragon.
gets the dragon, and he does go down for it, but I mean, in that situation, that's pretty much a best case scenario, being able to pick up that dragon in a 2v4 by that point, with the Shen ult potential.
No blast cone, no flash. You pick up a dragon for a sack life of a 2-2 Trundle. Now he's a 2-3 Trundle. That's the dream scenario. You just walked up and took the dragon. Like there was no.
Absolutely. Oh, Kai'Sa kind of turned this damage around onto Sheep's Head, but he has all the minions. Ooh, ultimate coming down. She does dodge the one. She flashes the second, but the third one is able to pick her up.
Yeah, you have to wonder if she wouldn't have been better flashing in place there. And
Well, they had the ward in either spot, but top lane, lots of damage going down. Shen fails to taunt away from the wall. He is very low HP, trying to get away from there. Equally, Obscure Borin failed the dash his own way, but fortunately, Bomby Cinder, or I guess his fully built Sunfire Cape, is able to pick up the Shen.
And something turned on the Rift Herald, notably, to help him there. Not entirely sure if that was his missed crash into the wall or what.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what aggroed Rift Herald there either, but yeah, as you said, he came to play. Yeah. Looking at the gold right now, I'm just taking a quick view through. Oh, I can't do that because we have, very aggressive by Reese. I don't really know if that was a good ult and flash. I'm not really sure if he had the kill potential there. It does force Hecarim away, but trading the Ghost Summoner for the flash, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
And there's not even that much to take away. If you were taking away an entire side of jungle plus buff and then having first move on to a neutral objective, yeah, that's a great play.
Looks like they're going to make the move on to Little Saints here. Shen ult is coming down there, choosing to just disengage as he does get the Shen in range. Turns the damage back around on the Little Saints. He's taken away. He does drop down to the Ignite. Photosmart should just be able to walk away here. Sitting right next to his tower, kind of almost daring him, to dash and taunt him, see where he ends up.
Let's all say it together. We don't dive turrets with a Shen ult up. They managed to come away with the kill anyways because of the Ignite just managing to get its final procs off. But
Shen getting very aggressive, trying to dive under tower, takes a lot of turret shots, and ultimately Photosmart able to just pick up a free kill there. I think the theme of this game that we're seeing so far is over-aggression. Everyone just keeps going too hard, and they keep paying the price for it. Hecarim ghosted forward, trying to get this kill. Once again, over-aggression. Look at where he is. He's got no teams to support him. Orin has collapsed down to block him off. There he goes. Damage coming out. Fortunately, Orin does not have a ton of it. Looks like he is able to get away, but it was so close to not working out. Meanwhile, bot lane, Kai'Sa diving in, gets stun locked by the Leona. We're going to see a lot of damage traded back over here as Leona looks for the kill. She does get it. Meanwhile, we do have Leona locking up the Lux for the Jhin ultimate. There's the last hit. I don't know if Jhin will be able to get it unless that W comes through, and it does! Sheephead picks up another kill in bot lane. What started out as a nice pick for the Kai'Sa and the Lux very quickly flipped on its head.
I mean, and speaking of over-aggression, we've got the flash forward from the Victor also over the wall trying to pick up the Hecarim and not quite pulling it off. This whole game has just been overstep followed by overstep followed by overstep, and at the moment Madtown is just winning the trade of oversteps and is up almost 5,000 gold.
Oh my god. But the over-aggression trend continues as Orin overstayed to get the tower. Akali tried to commit on the kill there, wasn't able to put it on the damage, so Orin turned it around to pick up the Akali, only for him to get caught out by the Hecarim.
And so that 5,000 gold is now 4,000 gold with an Infernal Drake spawning in 30 seconds.
Yep, this game is a wild back and forth. Gotta love it.
Notably, though, it hasn't been that aggressive of a game in that we're still only sitting at about a kill a minute. It's just been an over-aggressive game where, generally speaking, the people making the plays are the ones dying rather than the other way around.
Yes, absolutely. And right now, we're just, setting up the vision control right here, getting ready for that dragon, which spawns in 1 second.
Just looking at the map based on positioning right now, you have to imagine this dragon goes over to the blue side. It's possible that with the Shen ulti, they can set something up, but the side of Return of the Middlesticks just completely out of position for this dragon, and it's burned down before they can even get the Kai'Sa to scout it out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look, seeing where the gold is right now. I mean, we got about 1,300 or so gold lead for the ADC of Madtown. Oh, Lux just got popped. Shen ult going down. It doesn't matter. Kai'Sa goes down before it even completes. Wow, I'm just not allowed to look at the gold. Herald is also being dropped. This is a 2-kill pickup, and now a Herald being dropped on mid tower against Revenge of the Middlesticks, or Return of the Middlesticks. Yep, their tier 2 does go down as they're looking to take Inhib tower. We have Hecarim on the back line, but he doesn't have anyone other than Akali to help him. Not really sure what he's looking to do there. They know where Akali is right now, thanks to that red trinket. There's the third charge onto the Inhib, and they do burn that down at 19 minutes.
Notably, when scouting this game, Sheepshead and Datpuff are one of the highest ranked bot lanes in this division right now, whereas Aeropox and Meristematic are one of the lowest. And so, despite their handicap, they're performing fairly well for themselves. The biggest difference right now has got to be the pain that Return of the Middlesticks is feeling, missing their mid laner. Lil Saint performing well enough on the Akali, but just not the dominating force that Talek's guy has been in the past.
Right, and I think Return of the Middlesticks, we're still seeing their shot calling coming out. We're still seeing them grouping and trying to make plays together. But I think you're right in just we're missing Talek's guy's impact that he had in the previous series, that show match in the offseason, where he was roaming, he was making plays, and he was forcing things to happen all over the place. You know, Lil Saint has done well. He has, stayed 3-3. He's fairly close in CS to the Victor, which I imagine, I'm not much of a mid laner, I imagine that's a hard lane to CS in. But ultimately, Lil Saints is right now in a bad situation, is able to dash over the wall and get out of there, all those Akali dashes.
But also problematic, right, is the fact that there's a 2,000 gold split between the Victor and the Akali. And at least early, that's supposed to be an Akali-favored matchup. Obviously, it gets worse, and first levels are bad because it's a melee champion into a ranged champion, but once you hit levels 4, 5, 6, until Victor gets some gold online, you should be the one who's winning those trades.
Oh, Hecarim in a bit of a bad situation, turns it back around onto the Victor, Alton in onto him. Victor turns it back around onto the Kai'Sa. As he gets out of there, he is not going to drop. Oh, that's a double kill for the Victor. Meristematic getting caught out by the Jhin ultimate. See if that final curtain collects, and it does collect on him.
Aeropox needs to go watch Double Lift, learning what Victor does.
Is that a thing?
For those of you that haven't seen it,
I haven't.
TSM versus I want to say it was Samsung. Back in the year when TSM was supposed to be the super team with Double Lift and Bjergsen and everybody, and they're winning the game, and it looks like they're going to counter it, and Double Lift decides to leave his team instead of going to Baron and goes and tries to 1v1, crowns Victor, and just gets straight deleted off of the map.
Hecarim going in top as they do a little bit of CC, but they're choosing not to take the fight. Probably the best, because right now they're getting collapsed on 5v2 in a moment. Trying to get some distance, trying to rescue Sheepshead there as they peel off the Akali, but I don't think he's going to be able to get out. That should be a clean turnaround. Oh, they do manage to pick up the Akali nonetheless, though, and we do have Photosmart here. Is now in a 1v4 as the rest of his team has disappeared. Leona is there putting some damage down. They do pick up Gid. Shadeslayer Oath is trying to put down more damage as they're just trying to kite it back with the Leona, and Photosmart putting out the damage. He drops down. Meanwhile, Trundle is in the bot lane just taking the bot tier tower. Is ultimately a 5v4, I guess, as a filtered 4, I should say. Does go ultimately in the favor of Madtown Frydown. I don't remember what that acronym stood for. It's such a good name, though.
Well, I mean, it's a 4-for-2 in favor of Return of the Middlesticks.
In favor of kills, but looking at what happened with the map, I have to disagree.
Considering the position that Sheepshead and Datpuff found themselves in, and how clean of a pick that should have been for Return of the Middlesticks, I agree with you that it definitely goes in favor of Madtown Frydown, especially with the Trundle battering his way into the base. But when you're as far behind as Return of the Middlesticks, and you were just able to pick up 1,000 gold off of a Victor kill, 650 gold off of a Jhin kill, and then a kill onto 2 other members of the enemy team, that's a huge gold swing for you, even losing the objectives. You need those kinds of moments. Problematically, though.
Oh,
you
big
can't-
fight breaking
there's
out
not-
after the dragon goes down. Akali does pick up Sheep's Head early on. Will this turn around? Oath is tanking pretty well, but they are putting a lot of focus on the Little Saints. He is getting the Shen ult to try and save him, keeps him alive for a little while longer. Shen, though, Oath might just be taking his place in the death cam. Yes, he is. Merstomatic getting caught out by the Victor now does get bursted. Aeropox all on his own as Orin does not follow up. Meanwhile, Photosmart trying to catch him out. They should be able to get this inhib right now. 4 versus 3 still standing.
I mean, notably, this game is in a really bad spot for Return of the Middlesticks. No matter what you've done to the game thus far, you now have to contend with, on back, what's going to be a 3-item victor. And there's really not many champions in this game, other than maybe a Corki, that can contend with 3-item plus to late game victor, especially when he's got 2 meatballs in front of him and a Leona. It's a really bad position to be in for Return of the Middlesticks. You need to basically have your Akali or your Hecarim be able to jump on the Victor with a Shen ulti coming through, just to survive long enough to try to pick the champion.
Yep, and Madtown Frydown is trying to do that Baron right now, but I mean, it is a very slow take. Gid is in there, Ultimate coming down. He's all on his own at the moment, trying to get back out. But Madtown Frydown are low HP from that Baron. We have the counter engage. Little Saint going in, getting burst, but does survive for the moment. No, I spoke too soon. She goes down. Returning back around, Aeropox getting chased out by the Victor. Ult does drop to it. Meanwhile, Sheep's Head and Dapuff just kiting it back, trying to keep Oath away from them, as Obscure Porn is looking to pick up the Myristomatic. Does go down. Sheep's Head and Dapuff still kiting the Shen. Obscure Porn has joined them, is going to be coming in. Ultimate does not land. He does have the blast going if he wants to try to make a play. They don't... Ooh. Dapuff is real low, but so is Oath. I don't think he's going to be lasting too much longer. One more hit. Ooh, does he get away? Dapuff is looking to cut him off. Nope, there's the Gale Force coming out to get the kill over to the Jhin.
The idea was acceptable. I think that they pulled the trigger. I don't know if Gid meant to go over the wall when he did.
Well, I don't think they
That
had
was way
vision at
too
the time,
early.
so he had to just kind of make a play.
Okay, that was way too early to be going over that Baron pit wall. I think you have to try to do something else. The Kaisa missed the snipe to join the fight on his tail. I think maybe just have your Kaisa snipe the Baron so you get the vision of it, and then try to make your play after that. If they had seen that Baron was at 7,000, they could have let the Baron debuff and smack down the side of Madtown a little bit longer before trying to make their play for it. And maybe that fight goes a little bit differently. As it is, it was kind of a sloppy fight with everybody all over the place. And those kind of fights are almost always going to favor the victor and the team that has more CC and frontline that can spread out. And so Madtown, once again, coming through with another big team fight.
Yep. Oh, Kaisa in a very bad situation. Has to flash away. Gets caught up by the root, and Victor is able to secure the kill. 14-4 at this point.
Yeah, I think that if Return of the Middlesticks, unless something changes, if they don't ban the Victor, they're just inting next game.
Well, game's not over quite yet, although they are looking to make some big moves here. Oath is getting back under the safety of his turrets. We do have the big counter engage by Gid Shadeslayer. Shenol has to come back out to keep him alive, though. In the meantime, Obscure Porn knocks up and keeps back the rest of Madtown Frydown's team roster. Oh my god, that's such a name. Photosmart, though, on the back line does pick up the kill on the Myristomatic, taking a lot of damage back by Aeropox, who has respawned at this point in time. It's still 4 versus 2 or 4 versus 3 at the moment, as they're looking to close out the game if they can. Reese hidden away at that tower. Shade going back in on the Sheep's Head. He is getting burnt down and getting chased down. Big flash taunt out of Oath, but it's not going to be enough as he's just going to go down himself. Meanwhile, Aeropox is left alone. Myristomatic in 6 seconds. I don't know if those two will be enough to save this inhib, this Nexus, from going down. that looks like game one in favor of Madtown Frydown.
I think that we saw draft play a major role in the outcome of this game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we said going into this game, I think we both agreed that we liked Madtown Frydown's composition and draft more than Return of the Middlesticks. They definitely play. I mean, they had great moments, but ultimately, I think the theme of the game, the error that we saw throughout the whole match, was just too much aggression, too much over aggression, where people were trying to make plays, trying to make things happen, and instead just giving it over to the other team.
Yeah, over aggression was definitely the theme of the game, and I think that we definitely saw a better adjustment by Madtown Frydown, pulling back on the reins just a little bit, recognizing that maybe they were pushing just a little bit too far and backing it down just a touch. I know that Akali is a lane counter to Victor. A big part of that is the fact that she can kill him early on and snowball off of that. But I think looking at the team comps, I feel like you would have been better with a zone control mage like a Xerath or something a little bit more pick oriented like a Zoe. Maybe that's not the way that Return of the Middlesticks plays, but I think that that's something that they need to consider if they're going to let this Victor through in game 2.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's take a short break right now as we get ready for game 2 then.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, be back shortly, everybody. And welcome back, everybody, as we get into game number 2 here with Madtown Frydown and Return of the Middlesticks. They have swapped sides now, so Return of the Middlesticks is over under the blue side. Madtown Frydown is on red side. I'm your host, Karen Franz. Joined me today is Cage Reaper doing our color casting. Cage, break us down. Tell us a bit about the teams and the comps that we're seeing.
All right, well, notably, in Game 2, the sixth man effect coming through, Tall X Guy is back in the mid lane for Return of the Middlesticks. And with his return, the bans have changed. Return of the Middlesticks, not the team to ban the Victor. In fact, with their blue pick coming up and them having banned the Corki, Madtown Frydown opts to ban both Yon and Victor, just being a little bit cautious around what Tall X Guy is capable of doing.
Yeah, and I think, seeing Tallix Guy back into it, hopefully we'll see a good return to form with Return of the Middlesticks, able to see some more roaming, some more ganks out of that mid lane that we saw in the original event match that we streamed. Diana does lend herself to that sort of an opportunity, does give the availability, especially with people able to follow up like Leona bot lane and Tom Kench top lane, to really lock people up and really help set up those ganks. So I'm excited to see that happen.
Yeah, notably good comps on both sides. I think the top lane edge goes to the Tom Kench over the Malphite. Malphite will have a much bigger effect on the game and in a whole, but in a small situation, 1v1 or 2v2, Tom Kench wins all the time. The Warwick versus Olaf matchup is a little bit of a funky one. From somebody who plays a lot of both champions, I think that it favors the Olaf. Warwick can win it in certain situations, but the consistent slows from Olaf are really detrimental. I think Warwick's a more useful champion on the whole, though, so that's kind of a push. The Diana-Vex matchup, Vex counters a lot of dashing assassins, but Diana doesn't dash the same way that other assassins do. And given the calculated nature of Diana's dashes, if played intelligently, Diana should win this matchup. In the bot lane is where I think that you have the potential for this to be a really explosive game in favor of Madtown Frydown. You've got Sheep's Head and Datpuff on the Caitlyn with a Braum, and they actually picked the Caitlyn Braum in response to a Leona first pick. And Jinx and Caitlyn are currently the top two ADCs in the game, give or take. But I think in a situation where you have a Leona against a Braum, you have potential to get yourself into a lot of really bad situations where the Leona ease forward and all Braum has to do is jump to his ADC and shield, and Braum and the ADC can kill the Leona before the enemy ADC ever has an opportunity to trade back.
Yeah, absolutely great point. I also have to ask, just in general, with the two team comps we're seeing a lot of frontline, a lot of tanks on both sides. My question is going to be, will Madtown Frydown have the consistent DPS damage to burn through the three tanks and a bruiser-ish assassin-y mid thing that is Diana, compared to Return the Middlesticks having the constant DPS that is Jinx, and then the burst DPS and Diana able to burn through the Malphite, the Braum, and get onto the back line of Madtown Frydown.
As long as the Tom Kench doesn't get ahead, I think that the damage that you have on the side of Madtown Frydown is more than adequate. Leona's not especially tanky. She did go the green tree build, which makes her a little bit beefier, but maybe not to the point that she needs to be to make a good trade. Shade Slayer notably went lethal tempo instead of press the attack on Warwick, which means that he's likely to go a slightly more damage-oriented build that benefits from the extra range from press the attack, or from lethal tempo, whereas generally the beefier Warwicks tend to prefer press the attack for the synergy there. Diana's build right now, we'll see whether Tulloch's guy prefers the Nashor's build or the Assassin kind of magey build. Right now, the mage style build is a little bit more in meta. The items favor it a little bit better, and it has a slightly better functionality. I think the big thing here is whether or not the Jinx can get ahead before the Caitlyn does. Because if the Caitlyn gets ahead, she's going to be able to delete anybody on the enemy team except for the Tom Kench. And that can be really problematic to deal with and get to when you have an Olaf and a Braum there to peel for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm excited. Are you ready to get into the game?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Alrighty, we'll see you there soon. We're going. Perfect timing. Alrighty, so right away we are seeing once again red team. Madtown Frydown is heading in, getting ready to do a 5-man gank at that bottom brush. Leona's all alone there. We'll see how this plays out. Turn of the Middlesticks just doing a standard 5-point. Braum leading the way. She does see it. Braum Q does connect. Olaf has his infinite slows on his axes, but Leona knows that is coming and flashes out of there.
All right, I see this too much, and I like to make that invade path too. So let's talk about this for a second, and I'm going to hate myself for it later. But notably, if you're going to 5-point, as the support, you need to be at the entrance to that choke. If you are standing in that tri-bush, you cannot see to defend yourself before the enemy team gets there. If you're standing at the entrance to the river, you at least have the vision to run away before they get to you and save your flash. Now, good counterplay here on the side of Return of the Middlesticks, getting the deep ward in for the Warwick, with the Diana actually being the one to leash there.
Yeah, very nice. So, I mean, they are just trading red buffs right now. We'll have to see what pathing they take after that point. But yeah, as you said, that's a very smart way to, prevent that kind of a gank in the future by just staying a little bit forward, hugging the wall so you can still, dodge, use that wall for cover, and just give yourself a little bit more vision to play with.
Interesting play here by the bot lane of Return of the Middlesticks. Knowing where the Olaf was, I think that they could have just fallen back to collapse onto him at those Krugs and picked up the free kill and a red buff for the ADC. But I think that they were a little too afraid of losing farm here, and so they've got themselves caught in this freeze where they can't walk up. Meanwhile, the Olaf manages to steal away the entire bot side jungle for free. Warwick, notably not as good of a champion at power clearing and stealing these camps, and so ostentatiously, you have to assume that Reese's going to be the one who comes out on the better side of this trade than Shadeslayer.
Yep. Good damage coming out from Sheep's Head onto Aeropox, abusing that early game range that Caitlyn has. And yeah, this freeze really kind of putting them at a bit of a disadvantage, as they only just now leveled up. Alright. Looking around, Olaf is back to his own blue, while Warwick is just now finishing up with his opponent's red side jungle. Looks like he's going to probably go do that Scuttle Crab as it is spawning.
Well, nice part about this vertical jungle path for Warwick is he does get a Scuttle Crab. Unfortunately for him, unless he paths in a more creative manner, the full clear speed of the Olaf does generally permit Olaf to be in a position to push Warwick off of one or both Scuttle Crabs without lane pressure. So in the end game of things, this might actually work out towards Warwick's benefit as far as first clear experience in gold goes.
Yep. Oath very aggressive up in this top lane matchup. I mean, Tom Kench really able to bully the Malphite, and he's showing us all why that is. Lots of damage being traded over to him with very little, sticking onto him.
Malphite is a good champion to pick when you need to scale and play for the team. However, Malphite loses lane to just about every other tank in the game.
Yep. Well, Reese coming in right now. We do get Oath does tunnel away, but Reese popping that ghost. He does have his infinite slows. Oath taking a good bit of damage, trading back what he can. Does drop down Oath. No shield coming out of the Tom Kench. A little bit of a misplay there. Missed the opportunity, I think, unless he burned the cooldown earlier. So first blood does go down to Reese. That's great to have onto an Olaf. Really gives him opportunities to make moves later, especially when the other alternative is to give it to a Malphite. Ooh, counter engage or going up top lane though. Oath re-engage after teleporting back top. Good Shade Slayer's there helping him out to pick up the kill in return, giving it right back on over to Oath.
Yeah, really good play by Shade Slayer there to turn that back around after the slight misplay by Oath holding the shield. Not entirely sure what happened with the Q there. I expected the Warwick to Q through the Malphite, but maybe he felt like he had to turn around and try to heal and get back to help make sure that the Olaf fell down, make sure that Reese did die after that trade.
Yep. Yeah, both mid laners real low, both without any real mana to capitalize on the situation. CS is in favor right now of Photosmart, the ranged matchup, able to secure it a little bit safer. Not surprising.
Also, cautious play, smart play made by Tulloch's guy. Having the teleport instead of the ignite, recognizing that in a tight play like that, the kill pressure is actually in favor of the Vex.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we might have an early Drake coming out right now, as Olaf has started it. His bot lane of Return of the Middlesticks have come up, Madtown Frydown have come up to help him out. Looks like they are going to secure that first dragon. Air drag going over at 609.
Yeah, good play calling there by Reese, recognizing that his bot lane has all the pressure, all the push. The bot lane of Return of the Middlesticks has no way really to get to the point where they can contest that dragon without running the risk of just blowing the game open in favor of Madtown. So good abuse of the situation currently. Even gold really is in favor of Madtown right now, given the scaling and the power points of the characters on it.
Yeah. And, ooh. Okay. I have to wonder, we have Oath right now is just kind of counter jungling for his jungler, stealing away some of Olaf's camps, but he has been called out right now, does manage to jump over the wall. Diana looks for the engage, looks for the ultimate, not quite able to secure it. Reese just heads back up to take his red after Oath took away his, what are they, Raptors?
Yeah, a little bit of counter synergy there. The Tom Kench lick misses because the Diana ulti pulls the Vex back. Not the end of the world in the grand scheme of things, but not what you want to happen there when you're committing the time. Notably, Oath's still probably going to get back to his lane in time to not miss more than a couple of minions, making it a really good wander and roam for him to go pick up an enemy jungle camp, make his appearance mid, Does miss the cannon minion, though. That really hurts.
Yeah.
That kind of hurts the value of the trade. But Reese able to just come over and start taking the Warwick's jungle because they see him on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah. Very smart moves out of Reese to capitalize on that opportunity. And, just looking right now at the CS, it's more or less even across the board. I mean, there's a bit of a lead up top for Oath, who's been bullying the Malphite. But the biggest differential is absolutely in that bot lane, 41 to 66. Oh, never mind. Gid is going in right now. Good fear forces Sheep's Head back. He has to flash away. Gid is still pushing for it, though. They are right coming up on tower. Damage is being traded back, but it looks like they are going to be able to get out. Meanwhile, top lane, Obscure pouring ult onto Oath, able to do a lot of damage onto him as he tries to tunnel away. More damage has been traded back. Bot lane, though, Braum flashes forward, tries to get the kill over, has to secure it himself. Gid is being brought down low, trying to heal up, does go down to Sheep's Head. That's a 2-for-nothing bot lane. Meanwhile, Oath is trying to trade back around top lane onto the Olaf, but Olaf is able to turn it around and finish it up with a nice quick axe. What
that
a trade.
One hurts. Notably, the Warwick tries to get a fight forced down into the bot lane. Probably would have benefited from waiting a second longer and countering some jungle camps first to get level 6, because that Warwick really is one, maybe 2 camps away from level 6 before that fight. And on the other side of the map, you've got level 6 already on the Caitlyn and the Braum, and Braum didn't even have to use the level 6 to turn that fight in their favor. Really unfortunate the way that played out, but
bit of an overstay here as there's Braum throwing down the ultimate right now. He's just going to probably drop. Does manage to jump away a little bit, but he goes down. Sheephead trying to walk out. I don't think they really have any way to take him down, so yep, Sheephead will get out. Overstayed a little bit. But yeah, as we talked about this going into the match, Madtown Frydown does have one of the highest ranked bot lanes in this entire division. And I think we're really seeing them, show their stuff in this series. We do have an engagement going down in the mid lane. There's the ultimate out of the Diana. Vex is brought down. She is taken out. A bit of a trade going on top lane with the help of the tower.
And that's how that Diana Vex lane is supposed to work. If Diana plays it right and dodges the initial fear, Diana should just win all those trades. Notably, the really unfortunate thing, Warwick just now hitting level 6, while Reese's already level 8 on the Olaf, having benefited from taking the entire Warwick's quadrant a couple of times and being almost double in CS right now on that Olaf.
Yeah, we're seeing some big CS differences starting to form here. Diana's actually caught up and actually passed the Vex, who previously had a lead. So really started to turn that around. Interestingly, no roams yet out of Tall X Guy. That's something that we talked about a lot out of him. That's something we saw out of him a lot in the matchup beforehand. But nothing coming out quite yet. Warwick is looking to make a play bot lane, but he's getting collapsed on by Madtown Frydown. Slow didn't quite land from the axe, but it is being followed up on by Vex and Braum. They are able to pick up the kill onto Sheep's Head, who does secure that kill down there. Diana has arrived now, but it's a bit too late. I'm not really sure that they want this 3v4 at this point.
A little bit of a weird interaction there with the Warwick
Diana,
ulti.
maybe not the best idea to move in on the Olaf, who has permanent slows. Does have to flash away, but now Leona's traded spots with her. Is going to get slowed down. Here comes the Braum. There's the Vex damage. Does have a sliver of HP left, and she does take him down.
A little bit of miscommunication there between the Diana and the Leona about getting out versus going in. And shortly before that, you got to wonder a little bit about how they got stuck in that position there. And Gid, the Shadeslayer, trying to use the Warwick ulti to get to safety, but a weird interaction with the Braum shield where the outside point of the Braum shield caught his Warwick ulti and trapped him into ulting a champion standing slightly behind him, making for a really bizarre interaction that worked unfortunately for Shadeslayer, who thought he was probably about to ult over a wall to safety.
Yeah, unfortunate situation to be in. Ultimately, I think it was a bit of a sort of decision-making error out of Tall X Guy going in on the Olaf, who has that perma-slow. Diana has ways to go in. She doesn't have ways to go back out. You have to really consider that and be mindful of that.
Also true, but at the point that you're going to flash out, you don't need your Leona Eing back in over the wall. But of value concern point to be made also right now, Reese's still 2 levels up, probably closing in on 3 levels up right now, as almost double the Warwick's farm. And in the bottom lane, that nasty situation that we were predicting a little bit, Caitlyn on almost double the farm of the Jinx right now, as the Jinx and Leona really can't get anything aggressive done into this Braum Caitlyn lane that just denies them and punishes them every time they try to walk up and do anything.
Yeah, absolutely fair. Looks like Tom might be, I don't know if he's just clearing vision, or no, he was doing the Scuttle or Rift Herald. It's a bad situation to be Reese. Trying to put damage back down onto the Warwick, trading a lot of damage back. He has so much self-sustaining healing. Does get manage to pick up the kill onto Shade Slayer. Meanwhile, Diana picks up a counter kill. Oath has to get out of that situation. So they traded 1-for-1 at the moment, but Rift Herald stolen by Diana with a beautiful Q from Tall X Guy. Oath is trying to pick it up. He knows he's going to die for it, but it will at least be secured.
I don't know if it's worth picking that up. Couple seconds before 14 minutes. The turret plates just dropped. The 360 guaranteed gold you got is down, and your bot lane turret's going to fall. You're not going to get first turret gold.
Yep, and
it's almost better to steal that and just walk away denying it than it is to die for it, in my opinion.
And no dragon for nearly 3 minutes either, so they're not really going to be able to put it down on a tower to force a dragon objective.
And in addition, you're having to burn your TP now. Look at the wave you're losing top. Bot lane turret's down. Yeah, I agree with fighting that maybe. I think the Tom Kench feast onto the Warwick to keep him alive rather than onto the Olaf is maybe the first play to make there. Mm-hmm. But then I also think later that going in for the
Olaf
Rift Herald
finding this
isn't
Leona.
necessarily worth dying.
He does pop ult a little bit late after her one stun. Doesn't have his axe, but doesn't matter because Vex is there to help out with the damage as Olaf picks it up.
Yeah, there's a couple of champions you don't want to wander into.
And Olaf is
when
one
you're
of
behind. And Olaf's definitely one. The sheer amount of it's like Tryndamere, Olaf, Fiora. These are champions that Gwen. Now champions that just like they see you, and if you're behind and alone, you're just dead. They're going to run you down. You could run, flash, ghost, all three, Malphite ulti on top of it away, and they're still somehow going to catch up to you and kill you just because you walked forward in the wrong spot without vision.
Yep. I was really enjoying pushing these fights with Obscure Porn. Like, he's taking a lot of damage from the minions and stuff. He's walking that Malphite back right now, who turns the ult around, and yep, shield does come out, but we're switching to mid lane right now. Leona's kind of trying to catch out this Braum as they're kiting it back 2v1, or 2v3. Braum flashes over, it doesn't matter, Diana's able to go back over. Now it's a 2v2, Olaf versus Tall X Guy and Merstomatic. We have a Caitlyn ult coming out, gonna take some good damage. Vex turns back in, Good Slayer is going to keep chasing, oh my god. Racy and Sheep's Head do pick up that kill onto the Tall X Guy. What a wild turn of events.
Ole, fiesta!
Yeah, so many people just kept funneling in right there and just kept turning things and flipping it on its head.
So in top lane, a great stopwatch by Obscure Porn to stay alive and dodge the E forward from the Tom Kench. But then another great play by Oath to secure the kill in return. And so Oath manages to pick up the kill and the turret plus objective bounties in top lane, even though the Fiesta in mid lane doesn't quite go in his team's favor despite the initial
Leona going hard in onto that Caitlyn, not quite able to land the traps or the zap, and Malphite ult does deter them from further engaging. Or Malphite TP.
A little bit of over-aggression again. You just got the Caitlyn flash for free. You can't flash forward and catch that if you're Jinx, but now you're down your flash also. Yep. And you're not a mobile champion in the way that Caitlyn is. Your flash is worth and costs you a lot more to use like that.
Yeah, Jinx's only mobility comes from her passive, and that's situational. It requires, an enemy champion to die or a turret, some objective. So,
And
absolutely.
it looks like the Jinx is building Gale Force, which is the right item, but is still sitting at half the CS of the Caitlyn and just not really in a position to be trying to flash.
Oh,
like that.
Vex pushes the go button in onto the Warwick. He's trying to reduce as much damage as he can. Gets eaten by Tom, who's trying to keep him alive. Shields them both. They're able to keep alive. Tallix guy burns his ultimate. Leona burns her ult a little bit late. They are going to just tank the Caitlyn ult in return, but this should now be a free mid tower for return or Madtown Frydown.
Honestly, really well played by Revenge of the Middlesticks there to keep everybody alive and almost hold their turret. The fact that they lost that turret is fine, considering the fact that they didn't lose any bodies after it. Well played by them to keep themselves in this game.
Speaking of losing bodies, though, Vex gets called out, sniffed down, tracked by the Warwick. Gotta be careful of that as passive. But yeah, as you were saying, I would say the only real misplay I would have for Return of the Middlesticks was the Leona ult coming out a bit late. Could have held on to it, or maybe would have been better off if they had just used it earlier. But end result worked out okay. They lost the tower, but they kept everyone alive.
Ooh,
Reese looking for a picks here on the Merstomatic. He is 1v2 right now, about to be 1v3. Knows, recognizing that this is not going to go in his favor. Does still manage to pick up the Warwick 1v1 or 1v4 at that point. But yep, ultimately does drop.
If you're Return of the Middlesticks, you 100% take that extra double kill gold value onto your Diana, who's now 4-1. Tallix guy maybe not able to make the early game mobility plays on the Diana that he did on some of the other champions, but still really functioning as the anchor of this team, really doing his best to keep them in it and make a difference, and leading his team in gold, and by a significant margin, trailing behind really only the Caitlyn and the Olaf, who have had the benefit of completely dominating their relevant lanes, and both are about double their opponent's gold.
Yeah, looking at that right now, we do have about a 3,300 gold lead for Caitlyn over the Jinx, and Olaf is just under that, about 2,000 or so. So yeah, pretty significant gold differences in those two positions. Oh, it's still happily trading whatever damage he will with Obscure Born, just loves to do that, but they're making a Baron move right now. 20 minutes on the dot, looks like they've started it. We do see Return of the Middlesticks is starting to respond up there. They've turned away from the Baron, so maybe they were just baiting it out. As my jungler would call that, response check. Vex picks out the Jinx, able to burst her real quickly. They are disengaging right now as they're taking that pick and walking out.
I don't know that I agree with the Warwick ulti onto the Vex there. I get trying to make a pick, but even if you trade for the Braum ulti there, Vex isn't your problem. You need to get on this Caitlyn. This Caitlyn's going to just continue to punish you from afar. And the only way that you get there is with the Leona ulti, which you use, or the Warwick ulti, which you use. You can't force Tallix guy to
Speaking of forcing things, we have Tom TPing in the background. Diana goes in. She's getting burst down. She has to walk away. She drops by the Olaf. Oath managed to take down the Caitlyn in return. Sheep's Head fell. Datpuff flashing out of there. Gidslayer flashes after him, taking him down. Everybody's piled in on the Olaf, who's just trying to lane sustain, burst through it. There's the Goredraker keeping him alive in this situation. Malphite ults in after a good teleport. Jinx has finally arrived. Malphite flashes away. What a fight. 3 for 4 in that engagement right there.
So that's a perfect example, right? Is they managed to win the fight for Return of the Middlesticks, but it costs them Diana going straight forward and inting to make the play. The person who needs to be setting that up with an ulti to start needs to be the Warwick or the Leona, and then the Diana piggybacks off of that to make a play. When you send the Diana in forward first to make the play, especially with this Diana build, right? This is not
no stopwatch.
Zonya's second Diana. This is a Diana that started Nashor's, presumably
Caitlin's finding herself
is going,
in the middle of the enemy team. Warwick misses the ultimate. They are collapsing 4 versus 2 right now. Jinx and Leona are coming to the fight, but they're a bit late. Leona does go down, does stun the Caitlyn, but at this point it's all just running away. Tom Kench eats the Jinx, keep her out of the Caitlyn ult, but it doesn't matter because Leona is going down. Vex ult, scouting them out, does follow up onto the Tom Kench. Probably not the best target to go for. Is able to take some damage, and Caitlyn picks up the kill. Meanwhile, Olaf is started that dragon, looking to get dragon number 4 for their soul. This is once again another Chem Take is gone. Thank God for that. Hex Tech dragon soul.
Yeah, and 23 and a half minutes, really, really early for the soul here. Really indicative of the control that Madtown Frydown has had on the bottom half of the game, because of the fact that Sheep's Head and Datpuff have just completely been unapproachable. The first death on that Caitlyn just came through recently. Really good use of the Hex Gates by the Warwick to get in there. But again,
he's all on his own right now as they backed off of the Baron. They're trying to put down some damage. He does pick up the Braum. They do pick up the second kill onto the Malphite. Looks like Madtown Frydown is getting out of there at this point. Probably the best move that they can make is now... Well, let's see if Return of the Middlesticks decides to start this Baron instead. There is no vision for Madtown Frydown as they are starting this up. Reese is there to make the steal attempt. Baron is dropping a lot faster than it was a moment ago when it was the other side around. But they turned instead onto Reese and onto Sheep's Head, getting that Leona ult, followed up with the Tom Kench knockup, able to pick up Reese, so no jungler to try and steal it away. Meanwhile, Oath looking to pick up that kill. Vex is there looking possibly for the steal she wants to go for. It does not. So they are able to secure it. Sheep's Head and Oath duking it out. Oath picks up the kill.
Oath stepped on every cupcake walking up that way. You can't step on all those cupcakes, Oath. You should have had that easy.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. That one, though, was just waiting for him once he came out of his little dive. But yeah, absolutely.
I was going to criticize the play by Shadeslayer jumping in too early once again, but...
Oath choosing this 1v2. His teammates are coming, but they're not there yet. And they really don't know where the rest of the enemy team is. It did work out. They did pick up the Vex. Braum right there trying to move away from those traps so he doesn't get caught. Double kill going over to the Warwick. Looks like Return of the Middlesticks are looking to push this tier 2 mid tower. Should be able to grab it uncontested as the rest of Madtown Frydown have to stand back by their inhib turret. In comes Oath once again, diving deep in there. Does go down, maybe a little bit too far. Leona following back up. They get another kill there. Ooh, this is turning very poor tower dive for Return of the Middlesticks. That's 4 kills down right now. 2 kills onto the Caitlyn. Another kill. That is an ace for Madtown Frydown.
All right, good. A second for me to talk, because this has been a little bit insane, right?
Absolutely.
We just watched Return of the Middlesticks completely eliminate the gold lead and take back the gold lead, but then they over aggressively stay, and the problem is it's a little bit too little too late, right? They've already given up all 4 dragons and the Hextech Dragon Soul.
And they just lost their whole Baron off of that, too.
Right, and so you've got Return of the Middlesticks counterpunching beautifully to pick up the Baron, to pick up the kills, but then they overextend with it. And Madtown Frydown, who put themselves in a really bad position trying to be a little bit greedy and overtake everything, find an opportunity to get themselves right back to their 3,000 gold lead after a bit of an out.
Oh, beautiful Leona going down onto the bets. The go button as everybody piles in on top of that fight. Diana is looking to make a play, but Vex is denying everything with her fears. Meanwhile, Tom Ketch is looking to go back in, does pick up the kill onto the Jinx. There's so much going on right now. I can't even track it all. But another ace for Madtown Frydown back to back. They should be able to end the game right here. Timers are 15 to 35 seconds at the moment. They have a super minion pushing in. They don't have their ADC, but everybody else is alive.
That was a spectacular Leona engage. That was a spectacular way to catch out Madtown Frydown. But unfortunately, with that Dragon Soul, there's just too much splash damage going around for Return of the Middlesticks to have a chance at winning that fight.
Yep. And game 2 does go down for Madtown Frydown in a clean 2-0. What a series.
What a series indeed. Really, really good play by both teams. The first game back and forth for a long time before a couple of missteps. The second game, Madtown Frydown, absolutely in control, almost the whole run, but one big clutch throw and Return of the Middlesticks looks like they're back in it before they just push a little too far, and a little too late they got back into the game. They weren't able to deny that early soul, and honestly, the early soul's what ended the game for Madtown there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had that, 23 minutes that they secured that soul? It was really early.
Pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Yep. Oh, man. So, what a series. What major takeaways would you have for either team coming out of that series going forward?
Going forward, looking at Madtown, I'd like to see what they do with their 5th slot. Is Obscure going to stay top lane on these tanks that he likes to just absolutely go mad trading on? Or are they going to find themselves a top laner and he's going to return to the jungle where he tends to play more dueling picks in the first place? That's going to affect a lot of how this team develops moving forward. Outside that, the bottom half of the map looking very, very sharp in both games makes Madtown Frydown a very dangerous team for most anybody in the current meta and moving forward, especially if they can get their over-aggression problems reined in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you're dead on with that. I really want to see who Madtown Frydown picks for their 5th member, and I want to see how that affects their team comps and gameplay. But, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Their bot lane is, as we said, one of the highest ranked in this division. We saw them play 2 fantastic games back-to-back, and were just absolute threats. Even coming out on top in multiple 3v2 dive, like ganks against them.
Yeah, it really, really well played by them. And I think that for my series on that team, the ace has to be Sheep's Head for me. Photosmart probably gets, or the MVP rather, Photosmart probably edges out MVP for the first game over Sheep's Head. Not by a whole lot, but by just enough. But the second game was an absolute Caitlyn clinic put on by Sheep's Head. And Photosmart performed all right, but not at a point where we're having a conversation about it being close for MVP between the two players.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think that's the exact way I would put it down. As far as the ace goes, I think I would have to lean towards Oath for that. We saw him taking very strong trades in both games, really trying to dominate that top lane matchup in lane. And he had some major saves in team fights with the Tom Kench eating either the Jinx or the Warwick to keep them alive at crucial moments. So I think for the series MVP or series ace, I would give it to Oath. But maybe game 2 ace, I would say Tall X guy coming in.
I absolutely agree with that. I think if Tall X guy is in both games, maybe the first game goes a little bit differently. Maybe if Tall X guy is in both games, he's the ace for both games. I'm not sure. I can definitely say that he pretty much single-handedly kept them in this game, and he just reached a point where he couldn't impact the fights enough to keep it going. And we watched that Diana go from 4-1-0 to 5-4-5. There's just only so much you can do when the other team is beefy and you can't get to the people that you need to get to. But I thought that Oath over-traded a little bit, over-aggressive maybe a little bit, but really an absolute rock holding down his team in the top lane, doing the best that he could in both games. I would agree with your call on that. I think that he is their ace. I'm interested to see what Return of the Middlesticks does moving forward. I think that they need to find their identity as a team. They seem to have different jungle picks, different mid picks, and different ideas kind of how they want to play around the game right now. And I think that when they figure out exactly what they want to do and what they want to have Talex guy on and what they want to have Shadeslayer on and how they want to move that around the map, this is a team that has a potential to be really dangerous. They just have to make up their mind on how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So far, I don't think we've seen any team that plays quite like Return of the Middlesticks does, so I'm very excited to watch this team grow as the season goes on.
Absolutely. And I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Cage Reaper here with Karen Franz, casting Piltover Division in the 8th season of SEAL.
Have a good night, everybody.